friends, this is Kache once again here, coming to you with The Hunter, which is a free-to-play online game. I am here today because it ends up that I've had a little misfortune that could end up being very good fortune for y'all. And that is that I was doing I do YouTube videos, and I was doing obviously, and I was doing the cleanup on my computer, cleaning the cache and all that kind of stuff. And one of the options here in the settings of the Hunter, up here in the right-hand corner, is to clear the launcher cache, and browser cache. And thinking that it just cleared temp files and stuff, I cleared those. And the next time I went to log in, I could not log in because my information was not provided automatically for me. And despite the fact that I logged in with what, to my understanding, should be the correct information, I can't seem to get it sorted out, and I'm actually having to send a ticket in because the normal procedures aren't helping me out. But in the meantime, right around the beginning part of this month, had some family coming through, and I thought, my nephew might have an interest in playing this game, so I had set up a second free account for myself so that if he was interested, he could, fire it up on his laptop and we could go hunt together. Well, it ended up he wasn't interested, so this never got used. However, it works out good now because it means that since I simply cannot go a day without playing the Hunter since I've discovered this game, I'm going to use the second account of mine, this free account, as you can see under my name I'm normally known by on YouTube, Dilakaba. And I'm going to show you how it is that you can play the Hunter free to play and get lots of mileage out of it, make it a good investment of your time and energy, and not worry that you're going to have to turn around and dump a whole bunch of money on a bunch of stuff in order to play. Now, when you first open up the game, you're going to find yourself here in the launcher. In the upper left, you're going to see first there's launcher. You're going to have a friends list, and if you got any messages, and this is your wallet, which keeps track of your purchases of either, that you make or either in the game or for the game, in either EM, which is basically in-game money that is paid for with real money, or by earning some of it through some of the programs they have available, which we'll talk about in a moment. And then there's also GM, and this is money earned in the game. It's kind of like experience points that you can spend. And so you can't buy everything in the game with GM, but you can buy the things that will allow you to really expand your hunting experience and improve your odds and do other things. Now, the key to this is missions, and we'll get there in just a moment. Now, you notice there's a tab here that says Earn EMS, and if you click this, what it'll do is it'll pop up a box with a bunch of different offers. Sign up for a free trial of Netflix, and earn 200 EMS or whatever. I tell you, number one, kids, don't start messing, because you start messing, you're messing with your parents' credit. You're going to get in some deep stuff. And also, folks, remember that a lot of these offers, they don't ask you to pay anything. They just want the information because they're trying to get their information out there. But if you do a bunch of these offers, do prepare to have a lot of stuff coming into your email. All right. But one of the great options is you can watch videos. It's just like being paid to watch a commercial. Watch the video, click the button, and earn 2, 3, 4, sometimes as much as 60 EMS. Now, one EM dollar, I keep saying EMS, but it's EM dollar sign, is basically the equivalent of 1 penny in the real world. If you bought 500 EM dollars, you'd pay $5 for it. And so that 500 pennies equals 5 EM, okay? Now, if we go over here to missions, right here, there are competitions. You're going to find that most of the mule deer competitions that you run up against, they're going to be shotgun or bow or 30-06 or something that's not... The chances are only about 30% that you're going to go to competitions and find mule deer competitions that you'll be eligible to compete for, okay? Because you won't have the weapons and ammo necessary to do so. So what really matters to us here is missions and store, okay? First, we're going to go over to missions. When you open up missions, you'll see that right here, under the words overview, it says mule deer missions, and if you click that, you'll see that 3 missions will be available, and they'll have, once you've played through the tutorials, which you should not do, I'm not going to walk you through the tutorials. If you're interested enough to hunt the mule deer, you'll play the tutorials to be able to unlock these missions so that you can do what I'm about to show you here. But once we accept these missions, you'll see that track a mule deer, identify 3 mule deer tracks, right? Well, if I do that, I get 100 GMS. All right, having successfully done that mission, we then spot a mule deer. Well, guess what? There's another 100, so we're up to 300. Harvest a mule deer, we get one. And it says once you spot a mule deer, it's time for the final step. Notice it doesn't say when you spot a mule deer buck anywhere in this, which means the first deer that you take can be a doe. Okay, so and by doing so, you'll fulfill this third little situation right here. All right, once you've done that, you've now got 300 GM. Is that 300 GM really going to do you any good at this moment? Well, quite frankly, no. And we'll look at what prices are like here in a moment. But on the other hand, it will open up, take a 6-point muley, and instead of netting you 300 GM, you know, that one will net you 600 GM. And open up the next one, a favor for a friend. And as you go through and complete each of these missions, the amount of EM that you earn each step along the way with these quests gets bigger and bigger until finally you're going to be looking at a pretty healthy number up here. You'll be looking at 3,000 or 4,000 GM going, wow, hey, that's looking pretty healthy. Well, then the question is, what do you do with it? Well, the first thing you're going to have to know, of course, is that you know, we have our equipment, and there isn't really what you'd call an inventory here in the launcher. And so it's instead, when you go into the store and you look at an item, you'll see it'll tell you if you have that item, and if so, how many you have. If you click to view details, it'll give you all the important information, what ammo it takes, what scopes it can use, and most importantly, based on these green check marks, what animals you can legally take with that firearm if you have the license to hunt them. And so here we are, alpine ibex, black-tailed deer, coyote, mule deer, red fox, roe deer, and white-tailed deer. This selection of animals is awesome for a couple of basic reasons. The first is these different animals give you an excuse to go into all the different 5 hunting reserves, which is great. You get to play in a lot of different maps. The second thing is each one of these animals, you can buy a license for a single day, 7-day, or 1 month hunting period to hunt these animals. So let's say you decide, okay, you're sick of shooting mule deer and you want to do something different. What about a roe deer? Well, let's where do we go for a roe deer? Well, first we got to know whether we can shoot a roe deer. Well, here at the store, you'll see one of the things down here is licenses. And here they are, the list on the left side, turkey licenses and so on and so forth. Well, let's go down and look at roe deer. Roe deer, a 1-day roe deer license, 1,999 GM. So you can see that, you know, you stack up 4,000 GM. Well, that's basically worth a week of hunting, or you know, like a 1-day hunting permit and some consumable materials. So that's the next thing we're going to talk about. Is we're going to talk about, among equipment, there are what is known as consumables. You'll notice that all of these items show that they can be bought with EM dollars, but not with GM dollars. This can only be bought with the currency that's actually bought with cash or earned through the earned EMS programs. Okay. However, the consumables, the things that we use up in the course of hunting, those we can purchase with the game money instead of the exchange money. All right. So, for instance, there's wind indicator. Do a puff, and the little puff, white puff, will show you which way the wind is blowing. Well, that's only 159 GM for 50 uses. That's a very inexpensive investment of your GM. You know, as a brand new mule hunter, you've got to know what the wind is doing if you're going to stay with downwind of the animals and not spook them. You know, well, so you can see, for one of the first tools you can grab is something that'll help you with a wind indicator. You know, But I mean, look, you can buy camping supplies. They will allow you to fast travel to different points. You can get some scent eliminator for about 1,000 GM. You can get 10 sprays. You do a spray of this, and for 30 minutes, you don't smell like a human anymore, and that's going to help you tremendously, especially if you don't have fancy hunting clothes and stuff, because you're still a free hunter. Down here, face paint, which will help conceal you. So you can see there's about 959 there. So for very inexpensive, we can get some wind indicator, and for not too bad, we can get some of these supplies that will help us in our hunts. First aid kits in case we get hurt, even climbing ropes to climb the cliffs in Val de Bois. But a real important consideration of all of this is that, number one, we can't buy any weapons with it. You see, it's all the EMS, the paid for stuff, or the earned with through the earn EMS stuff. And secondly, if we look at the ammo for our weapon, when we look at our 243, you'll see that right here under 243 Nosler ballistic tips, it says you own 30. Now, when you receive your firearm and your scope and your bullets, that's what you get. 30 rounds of this 243 Nosler ammo. And this does not renew. Okay? So when every round you send downfield as a round, you don't get back. Okay? So one of the very first advantages of becoming a member is that this renews for free. Every weapon you own, the basic ammunition for it, 30 rounds of it usually, renews for free. And that's absolutely fantastic. You know, so you buy a bow, you also have to buy the arrows, but once you've bought the arrows, you don't have to buy the basic arrows again. If you use something like the tracer arrows, those actually get used up. But understanding now why it is that missions are important, so that, you know, we can earn that GM. You know, we can go to the store and we can use that GM right off the bat, and you'll notice another thing here. Look at that, whitetail urine, mule deer urine. So here we have, let's say 1,400 there for some mule deer lure. Okay, then let's go down here to consumables and look at 10 sprays of this. So now we're talking about 2,300 here, 2,350, all right, 2,425. So if you can manage to pull up 2,500 GM through missions, you can get yourself 10 30-minute periods worth of getting your scent completely knocked down, so you're more free to move. Plus, be able to tell which way the wind is blowing by checking it with that. And on top of that, have yourself, you know, maybe you know, that mule deer urine spray, because then you can change your hunting tactics. Instead of sneaking along and hoping you stay on the downwind side of them and they don't smell you and you don't spook them and you manage to get close enough to take a shot at one, instead, when you hear one, you can stop and you can use your deer call plus that spray to attract them into you, and they can't smell you because you've covered your spray with the no stinky. And, you know, whatever it is, your mule deer or your moose juice or whatever you put down, the animal is drawn to it. See, so there's advantages to doing this. So the purpose of what I'm going to be doing with this series, basically, is to show you guys how, step by step, playing completely for free, just with the stuff that you're issued, you can hunt, you can have fun, and you can not only hunt and have fun, but you can keep yourself in ammo, end up hunting in other reserves for other species, and so if I fulfill enough of my mule deer quests that I can get a whitetail license, means I can come over here to whitetail missions and start my whitetail missions, and each one of those is going to earn me GMS. See, so as we pick up licenses to hunt other critters, we can fulfill the missions, and as we fulfill the missions and earn more and more GMS, we can slowly but surely, through constant and consistent hunting, and doing it the right way, learning it the right way, be able to play a lot and get a lot of mileage out of this game with the 243, a scope, and some of this straightforward ammo. See, so that's what I'm going to do with this. So the fact that my account ended up messed up, and I've got to sit and wait until they can get me sorted out, You know, the fact that that's going on, and I need to turn to this so that I can play Hunter each day because I love to play Hunter. It means that having this nice, fresh, shiny account with none of this stuff done, I can do it with you, and I can help walk you guys through this process. So I hope you enjoy these tutorials. This has been a pretty long introduction, but I really want you guys to understand what's going on inside this browser in terms of getting you hunting. So remember that the store will fundamentally be your inventory. It shows me here the 243, which is what we're issued when we joined, that I have that. If I go to the ammo and look, there's a 243 ammo, and I've got 30 rounds of that. Equipment, binoculars. You've been issued a pair of binoculars, you know, and a digital camera. So this is what actually acts as your inventory, so you can keep track of what it is that you've got. In game, you have your actual inventory. So what I'm going to do is I've got to change over on my recording settings here so that I can go from this full screen mode to game mode, and when I return, I will be taking us out on our first hunt. So thank you for joining me for this introduction to the Hunter launcher and what things you must be mindful of if you want to step up to this game, play for free, and be able to really get the maximum out of the free game. I'll be back soon. Meanwhile, remember, if you're going to be a bar, be a grizzly.